Ruben, quite a similar situation to the previous week statistically. The Raw was good, but just not quite the win.
Yeah, it's an interesting game. Like on review, obviously first half a lot of positives. I thought it was a good performance in terms of we controlled the game and the momentum really well, nullified their threats, played some really good football, scored a great goal. And just showed a good intent. And I think second half, almost to juxtapose against that, it was almost a polar opposite. Lost control early. They started really fast, didn't manage the momentum of that moment, and then found ourselves kind of chasing the game. And again, when confidence is down and the momentum's against you, it's not a nice place to be. So we have to be better. We have to be more resolute in those moments, and we need to improve.
No doubt you would have, during half time, spoken to the guys about maintaining momentum. To see them then go out in that second half and some of these plays evolve, what do you do now?
Yeah, look, it was an interesting. I actually spoke to them obviously about some tactical aspects of the game where we still needed to improve and reinforce some of the positive things we were doing. But my last message to the players was, making sure that we start the half well, because they'll come out hard and fast with changes more than likely. So, I was expecting it, and we just didn't deal with it well. It was kind of like one moment, got beat down the outside ball into our box, didn't really defend the space as well inside the box. Allowed the ball into our box too easy, and that goal definitely killed the confidence of the players a little bit. You could see it visually, and for me that's the frustrating part, because when things go against you in games, you need to have a toughness and a resoluteness to manage the momentum. And weather the storm a little bit, and I don't think we did that well.
You mentioned last week about young fellas and debuts and changes. What now?
Yeah, look, there's obviously some younger players. We saw one of the big positives in the game for me was young Jacob Brissett. I thought he showed even in 10 minutes just a real clear intent to want to beat people in 1v1s, and he showed his quality, and that's a big step for a young player to go into a game in that type of situation and get on the front foot. Shows a real belief in himself, and it also showcases his ability. So that's a big positive for the club moving forward. I'm sure he'll grow from that experience. And there's other players, like I said, there's other young ones that are ready to make the step up, in the right moment and in the right game, and we'll try and find more of those moments to unleash a few more younger ones in this process.
Could it happen this week?
Potentially.
What are some of the things you have to consider when, I know that you've mentioned about the inability to actually play more games together during the pre-season. You've got a relatively new squad. No wins after 4 games. Players committed to training. Putting them into a big circle, a big pot, how do you manage that? What are you thinking about?
Look, there's a lot of things to manage, and that's that's my responsibility. I think the important thing is I still enjoy the process. I embrace the hardships as a manager. I love watching players trying to improve, especially in trying circumstances, because you learn a lot about their character. And obviously the start that we've had to the season is not ideal, and yet you would think that would, you think belief could waver in that type of moment, but for me, if anything, it just gets more resolute, and you start looking at yourself first of all and what we're laying out for the players. Is it the right thing? Where can we tweak? Where can we make changes? And then you look at the playing group. Are they still invested? Are they working hard? What character are they showing in difficult moments? And you kind of find out a lot about the individual. So there's still a learning process for us at the moment. Like I said, wherever we are at the moment, it's not where we're going to end up, and that's the truth. But the good thing is we've now played, we've played 4 games, and we've, I'd look at it like we've done our pre-season, if that makes sense. And there's no excuses. We need to go out there. We need to put in a performance like we did in the first half for 2 halves of football and get a result. It's that simple. And Macarthur's a good opportunity for us to do that.
It's no easy games. Macarthur themselves, down south, are not an easy task.
Definitely not. Obviously, that's another one of the hardships that we're facing at the moment, is the games away from home. We haven't really been able to build our own fortress yet and create our own momentum. But we have to embrace that. Macarthur have a lot of key threats. I think they've got the highest expected goals in the league. Well, they did before the last round anyway, and they're playing some really good football. So we're going to have to be strong and resolute to, to withstand their attacking threats. But there's some opportunities in some areas for us to exploit. And if we execute well, like I know we can, then we can get the points for sure.
Would dropping players, mixing that up, actually improve the team?
Potentially. There's always changes to be made, and there are some hungry players that haven't had as many minutes as they'd like. There's guys coming back from injury, guys building towards playing minutes now as well from longer term injuries. We're still a team definitely haven't found our perfect cohesion as a new group. And so, yeah, I expect there to be a few changes.